Welcome to the Base Path Podcast, brought to you by New England Baseball Journal. I'm your host, Dan Guttenplan. We have an inspiring story for you today. It's an NEB baseball player and Middleborough High junior now, right? Or sophomore? Sophomore. Dominic Driscoll with his dad, Bill Driscoll. Dominic was born with a congenital heart condition, and he is now fully recovered and one of our top prospects in the class of 2028. Guys, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, so I was kind of reading a bunch of different stories, kind of telling your story. What made you decide to share it? I know sometimes, this is, some people like to keep this type of thing private. What inspired you to kind of share this story with others?
Well, it's kind of a condition that's not very common at all.
Right.
So to have someone who has it and to play baseball is kind of crazy, or any sport, if you will. So kind of putting that out there and showing people who have very similar stuff, or even not even the same thing, that like it's possible and you can do it.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of the motivation for it.
I think that's definitely an inspiring thing for people who are dealing with the same type of thing. So I want to go back to the beginning, and Bill, we'll probably start with you on that one, because this was something that you found out about before he was even born. So take us back to that. Like, how did you get the news, and what was your initial reaction to getting the news?
Yeah. So we went in when my wife was 17 weeks pregnant to find out the sex of the baby, right? So we had my daughter at the time was a little over a year, and we went to Newton Wellesley, and everything was fine. Like, everything was totally normal. My daughter, in fact, when we were going into the ultrasound appointment, like, was fascinated by the water bubbler. So in the appointment, she just was causing havoc because she wanted to go out and see the water bubbler. So I just said to my wife, like, I'm going to take her out. Like, once you get the news, you can surprise me with it. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
So I went out to the water bubbler. We were playing around with it, and my wife came out in the hallway, and, she was 100 feet away and more, and she just yelled my name, I was kind of shocked to turn around, like, what's up? And she said, there's a problem. So we went in, and the ultrasound technician couldn't answer any questions for us because they're not really allowed to.
Yeah.
But there was definitely an issue. So they set us up an appointment at Boston Children's Hospital literally the next day. So that was July 1st or July 2nd. And then on July 3rd, we were able to go into Boston Children's, where they did a full round of testing. And then we went into a room, and no one gave us any answers. No one spoke or anything. It was really almost bizarre. You know what I mean? So we went into a room, just an empty room, and there was a white marker board, and the doctor sat us down and, explained that only half of his heart developed, and he's got some other issues going on there. So not only does he have a half a heart, the two main arteries that go into your heart are going in the wrong direction. And he's got a substantial hole in only half of the heart. So, at that point, you don't even know what to say or think or do.
Right.
Because you weren't prepared. Like, we were prepared 24 hours prior to find out the sex of the baby, and now we're finding this out. So, we took about 2 minutes to grieve, if you will. And they actually suggested, like, long story short is I said, well, what can we do? And they have to, protocol-wise, they said something about, late-term abortion. You can, gave us a couple of options, and, we're Catholic, and that's just not part of the equation. And we said, no, that's not it. Let's come up with Plan B. And they went on the marker board, the surgeon and the cardiologist, and started drawing what the half a heart looked like. And I got inspired, and, I have a building background in construction, so it's all plumbing. Right? So believe it or not, it's actually it's very similar. And we started drawing. And from there, as a parent, there's like a fork in the road, right? There's, fight or flight. Mm-hmm. We chose fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And what did they tell you, like, in terms of life expectancy at that point, and what the quality of life would be like? Yeah,
that was... they didn't want to ever paint themselves into a corner. Mm-hmm. They always kind of talk like worst case scenario, best case scenario. And the worst case was horrible, right? So it had us, like, when my wife gave birth, for example, we had the priest was there within a very short period of time to baptize him, because on the bad end of this timeline was he was only going to have a few minutes.
Yeah.
And the good was they've got test cases where some kids, are in their 30s or 40s. So, okay, cool. And after he was born, the whole protocol was basically like a bubble. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want him really going out and doing this. Just, kind of keep him at home. And we just chose to do the opposite every step of the way. And no knock on the doctors. They're phenomenal there. But we just chose to do the opposite. Like, have him go play in the mud, climb trees, get hurt, be a kid.
Yeah.
And since then, they've changed the whole protocol at Children's Hospital for congenital heart defects like his.
Yeah.
Totally.
And so he had 3 surgeries in the first 2 years of his life, open heart surgeries.
Yeah.
Were those pretty nerve-wracking for you? Like, I would imagine, there's a possibility you lose him when they're opening up the heart.
Yeah. Yep. Every time. And he was born, and we were able to get him baptized. They put him on I don't know. It's like a table, like a utility table, because he's so small. It's not like a bed.
Right.
And they rushed me and him over the bridge to Children's because my wife gave birth at the Brigham, because, that's where you have to give birth. And so over the bridge we went, and I don't even know this dude. You know what I mean? Like he's just this little baby,
right.
And he's looking at me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, man. And I'll be honest, like, you almost think, like, was he going to look blue or something coming in? Totally normal, totally healthy.
Yeah.
So then I start questioning everything as we're going over to Children's. Like, they had to have missed something,
Right.
And we got into the intensive care, cardiac intensive care unit, and they got him immediately all set up on stuff. And he was just moving and antsy. So the nurse came in and said, nope, this isn't going to work. He needs, like, skin to skin, because he's freaked out.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, my wife's not here. Like, she was like, you have to take your shirt off. And I was like, oh, all right. And took my shirt off, and he just took a nap on my chest. And then my wife snuck out of the Brigham. She was supposed to be there for, like, at least 24 hours.
Yeah.
And like an hour after giving birth, she snuck out and I literally still remember this day. I hear the wheelchair, like, squeaky, And I look, and she sneaks in. I'm like, what are you doing here? And she was like, I got to start feeding him. And that was it. So, yeah, his first surgery was super scary because he was just a baby.
Right.
But none of them got any better.
Yeah.
For sure.
And when did you start to get a sense that, like, hey, he's going to be different than what they told us? He's going to, this could be a miracle.
The scale story.
Yeah, the scale. Like, so when my wife delivered him, they immediately put him on the scale.
Yep.
And they put him on the scale, and I saw that he still has them. He has, like, alien-sized hands, like obnoxiously big hands. And he grabbed the scale he was on and literally pulled himself up. Like, a newborn doesn't do that.
Right, yeah.
And I was like, whoa, and and I just knew it was going to be different. Like, every time we were in the hospital for an open heart, they'd say 2 or 3 weeks. He was out in a week, 2 weeks.
Right.
His recoveries were always faster.
Yeah.
And it built something inside of him, as far as, like, he's been dealing with adversity since he was, 4 days
born,
old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, he's good with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what were your first memories? Like, do you remember? I assume you probably don't remember any of those surgeries in the first 2 years, but do you remember, like, having to sit down with your parents and then explaining what was going on or anything like that?
I mean, it's kind of tough to go back, because I feel like all those years kind of merged into one, like all the hospital visits. They all kind of feel the same. But I've had, like, talks over the years with them, like, what this is going to look like in your future, and what, like, you should expect, and how to, like, put yourself in the best spot.
Yeah.
But, like, as a kid, I don't really remember that.
And what did you think when they were like, hey, this is what the doctors have recommended, but we're going to do it differently?
I think I kind of forced their hand at it a little bit, because I wasn't ever, like, a very, like, quiet, calm kid like you would expect. I was always kind of, like, running around or jumping or doing something, climbing something. And they couldn't, no matter how much you tried to stop me, you couldn't really.
Yeah, you couldn't do it.
So I think I kind of pushed their hand, and then they kind of got used to it. So then that just was my life. That's how it was.
Did you ever have a time, I'm sure you probably did along the way, where you're like, these doctor's appointments are annoying, or why doesn't everybody have to deal with this? Like, did you ever feel sorry for yourself along the way?
Well, I put myself in like the mind every single time something doesn't go my way, or I feel bad for myself that it could be so much worse. Like, I am like blessed to even be able to like do any of the stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So like feeling sorry for myself, I don't hold that as like an option.
Yeah. So what are your first memories of baseball? Like, when did you, because it wasn't like organized when you first started playing. It was just in your backyard, right?
Yeah. It was me and my mom. My dad would be at work, and we would just play wiffle ball with like this huge blue bat and like these wiffle balls, and that was pretty much all day when I was younger. Yeah, that was my earliest memories of anything that had to do with baseball. It was just that every day, all day.
Yeah. And what did you love about it? Like, I guess you said it kind of fits with, like, you wouldn't be able to do, like, football because it's too much contact, or even, like, track and field would be too much on your heart, at least when you were younger. What was it about baseball that you really loved?
Well, I kind of fell in love with, like, learning. I like figuring things out. I like learning things. So I was kind of, like, okay at baseball when I was younger, and then once I started getting more into it and realizing there's teams and like all this certain stuff, like I fell in love with that. Like I knew every single baseball player, every single team, all of that. So baseball was kind of like my favorite game. You can attest for this. Every time we would go to BP, it'd be like an hour of, all right, guess whose stance I'm imitating. Yeah. And that just like, I was so invested in the game that's how it became my thing.
Yeah. And now when you first joined a team, I guess that was at the age of 7. Bill, you were saying kind of had to give the coach a heads up. Like, what do you say?
Yeah, that was, I felt bad for him after thinking about it, because it just became our reality.
Yeah.
And so we got him all ready to go for his first day of baseball. He actually had my Little League jersey on.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah, like somehow I saved it. And he loved it. And like on the back of it, we were sponsored by a restaurant. It was like La Hacienda del Rio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like this huge name on the back, and here comes this kid. And he's on the field starting to like play catch or whatever. And I went over to the coach and just said, hey, that's Dominic Driscoll right there. And he's like, oh, great. Signed him up. And he might have asked, but I'm not even sure. And I said, hey, just so you know, he's got a half a heart. So, just be cognizant of that. And he was like frozen.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm sorry, say that again. And I told him, and I said, you should be good. And I patted him on his back, like on his shoulder. And I walked away. And maybe halfway through the practice, he said, I need some help with coaches. Would you mind? Because he was, he's probably freaked out that he'd have to be responsible for it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And did you, like when you joined a team, were you one of the stronger players right away, or how did that play out?
No, I would say not strong at all. Like, I think I had the skills for it. Like, I could hit the ball and I could kind of field, but there was no really pure skill behind that. It was all kind of, I was just doing it for fun.
Yeah, yeah. And so you played in Middleborough Little League? Is that where you started? Okay. And when did you start to get a sense like, hey, I'm pretty good at it? Because you come from a family of great athletes, a lot of D1 athletes. Your dad, you played basketball in college? Football in college, and your mom played basketball, right? Is that?
Mom was a cheerleader.
Oh, cheerleader, and she has basketball family.
So her sisters all played hoops at the D1 level, and her dad, and then my sister played at Michigan.
Right.
So, yeah. So everything's basketball driven in our house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when did you start to get a sense like, hey, maybe baseball is something I could do beyond, maybe even high school?
Well, I would say after my 9U year, we played All-Stars, or you play a town league for 20 games, and then in the spring, and then going to the summer, you play, you get picked for the All-Star team.
Right.
And I got picked, and I was like, this is so cool. And I wasn't super, super good at all, but I was good, and I saw that progress, and I saw hey, I was 2 years ago, I barely could do any of this, and now I'm playing on a pretty good team.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just fell in love with getting better. So then from there, I think that it was kind of like a decision that I like this feeling, so I'm just going to keep that going.
Yeah. So do you still, what's your setup at home now? Or are you still able to do a lot of your work at home? Or, like, where do you do work outside of, for the high school team and then NEB in the summer?
Over the years, me and my dad put together a home gym in our basement.
Oh, wow.
So it has all, like, pretty much any machine that you would need to, that's, like, you can use them for all. Like, we have a cable machine. You can use that for just lifting or, like, baseball-specific stuff, hack squat, bench, dumbbells, kettlebells, medicine balls. Like, over the years, we just kind of got all of that. And then, how many years ago was the batting cage?
It was during COVID, yeah. So 2020, everything was shut down.
Yeah,
Right,
so
yeah.
2020, me, my dad, and my grandfather built, like, a batting cage in my backyard. And I was, 12 at the time?
11.
11 turning 12. So we, like, made it, like, 60 feet. So, like, when I'm older, like, we'll put a mound in there. And we kind of had it all scheduled out for that. So we built that, and then that was just every day for years.
Yeah.
Obviously not in the winter, but that's kind of when you move inside anyway.
So did you have any limitations as a result of your heart, like when you first started, or how has that kind of evolved over the years?
I think overall when I first started, I don't think I would even have noticed them, because like limitations I feel like would be after something happened to you, but I was like born that way. I was
Right.
born this way, so I don't think there is a limitation that I'll find, you know. So I
Or
feel
acknowledge.
like, yeah, or acknowledge. I don't know. I just don't. I've kind of been put in like a tight spot where even like something bad, I can't use it as like a problem.
Right, yeah. No excuses.
Yeah.
And so what was it like for you to see him kind of progress and become one of the top guys now, for his age in New England?
Honestly, I thought it was it's awesome just watching the whole thing evolve. He's made so many friends like in the baseball community. There hasn't been like one kid that like you could see like rubbed him the wrong way or they don't get along. Like when we go to Northborough, to the baseball complex there, kids from all different teams and stuff just come up to him and say hello, hey, what's up, and he does the same. So that's been great. Like the parents come up to me and say the same thing, like, oh, Dom did great. Which all that sounds great and reassuring that you're doing the right thing as a parent, but easily, hands down, and I probably get this the most is when parents come up to us and say, so-and-so was having a bad game and, Dom patted him on the back, got him going, and they just say that he's like just a real good dugout guy, just a good teammate.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, like, how's it feel? It feels awesome, but it feels great watching him put in all the work, because like you're not going to outwork him, which is, I know it sounds crazy because there's a lot of phenomenal athletes that he plays against and stuff, but they're just not going to outwork him. He won't allow it. Even when he goes for stress tests at Children's Hospital, they literally have to like unplug the machine because he won't stop. He won't get off.
Yeah.
Like even if something is reading bad or potentially bad, like he's just going to keep going.
Wow.
And so. Just the hard work, just watching him work hard, work really hard at something that he loves, and then see it come to fruition.
Yeah. Are you ever like at all nervous that like, hey, I'm going to push it too hard and might end up having an issue?
No, I think I got the chance to give it all I got. So like, if there's gonna be an issue, I'd rather have it that way than like sitting on the couch.
Yeah, and we've asked the doctors that, like numerous times, ever since he was like 3 years old. Like, hey, is it all right that he does this? And they're like, we've never had a kid with this condition be able to do that, so keep doing it.
Right.
So every milestone, everything. So, like he just went for his yearly where they give him like an echocardiogram, EKG, full eval. And, his heart does, the difference with him and us is if half of our heart stopped, right? And for whatever reason, they can only get half of it going. Our whole life would be in turmoil, right?
Right, yeah.
Well, his heart doesn't know any difference. It's only known I got to work twice as hard.
Yeah.
So it's just stronger. And the doctor said, like, go for it. Like, there's no limitations. They've signed every letter saying, like, full participation in every varsity sport. because all of his test results is not just because you can't take what he says. He'll say I'm fine no matter what, but all the test results, he's off the charts on everything. He beats non-cardiac kids in stress tests.
Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I know you had you were inspiring Greg Olsen, who was a former Carolina Panthers tight end, and now he's like the number 2 announcer for right behind Brady, right?
Yeah.
So you had a relationship with his son who had a similar diagnosis. Like, how did that end up coming together?
So it was my 12U year going into the summer, and my dad came up to me, and he was like, looked kind of distraught, and I was like, what's wrong? And it was me, my mom, my dad in the kitchen. It was like, Greg Olsen? I was like, yeah, I know Greg Olsen. Like, of course I do. And then he was talking about, like, how his son needs a heart transplant, and he's not doing very well. And there was a video that we watched, and it was sad. Like, my dad's been there, my parents have been there, so it was kind of, like, emotional for them. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I was like, he plays baseball. I play baseball. He can't play baseball right now. So this summer I'll play for him, and then any game ball, pin, jersey, hat, anything that I got. And we went pretty far, so we got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'll gave that to him at the end of the year.
Oh, were you on that all-star team that made a run? Did they go to Williamsport?
That was the year after me.
Oh, that was, okay.
Sore subject.
Oh, my bad. Sorry about that.
On that.
How far did you guys make it?
We made it to, was it regionals or states?
State finals.
State finals.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, so about 2 more wins.
Yeah.
And we're almost there.
Middleborough's got a strong baseball tradition, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
That's cool. And then you got a chance with the Red Sox through Make-A-Wish to throw out the first pitch and to do the tour of Fenway. What was that like?
It was awesome and scary at the same time because you're touring Fenway, that's awesome, and then you're like, who's giving me the tour? And it's David Ortiz.
Yeah.
So it's kind of scary, but I mean, it was awesome. They're all great people there. Players are wicked nice, and Fenway's just such a traditional legendary baseball field. That's crazy. So it was unbelievable.
So is it they ask you if you could do anything, what would you want to do, or how did you end up at Fenway?
It was actually more of a surprise. I was at a banquet for Make-A-Wish. And this is, when was this? October? No, September something, right?
No, it was in the springtime.
Oh, it was? Oh.
Yeah, it was right because you were going down to New Jersey. So it was March.
March, oh. Yeah. All right, so it was March. And my family was like, oh, you got to go to this banquet for Make-A-Wish. I was like, oh, okay. They didn't really tell me anything about it. But it is what it is. So I got all dressed up, and we're there with my whole family, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then towards the end, they're like, can we have Dom Driscoll come to the stage, please? And I was, terrified. There are so many people there.
Yeah.
But I, walked up there, and David Ortiz was already up there, and they were telling me, they're like, oh, we're giving you a Make-A-Wish to, the baseball experience at Fenway, get to meet the players, go in the locker room, go in the Green Monster, all this. And it was terrifying. I kind of got stage fright because here's David Ortiz next to me. So if I turn that way, David Ortiz, and I turn this way, there's 600 people.
Yeah.
But no, it was awesome, but it was a little scary.
So was he playing at the time, or was this after his career?
No, this is after his career.
Oh, okay, yeah. Gotcha. And the first pitch, did you just throw a strike, or?
Well, the mound was really high, and it was very firm. So I kind of slipped on my way down a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he caught it, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But it was near the strike zone.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
It was like a waste pitch.
Yeah.
What was funny about that is he was supposed to have his Make-A-Wish years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
3 or 4 years prior to that. And they were calling us, Make-A-Wish was, and we almost thought it was for donation stuff,
Yeah.
But they were literally calling our phone numbers and saying our personal names, so it was more than just a spam call.
Right.
And they said, hey, Children's Hospital has put Dom on a list. We'd like to give him a Make-A-Wish. So we started the whole process. It was probably 2018.
Yeah.
And he he was supposed to go see Mookie Betts. Right,
my favorite player of all time, and will always be my favorite player.
Yeah,
Mookie Betts.
So they not only did they set it up, he was going to play catch with Mookie Betts. Mookie was going to throw him BP. That was the Make-A-Wish.
Yeah,
and hang out the whole time, right? and then they traded him.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, then they traded him, and then COVID happened like almost simultaneous.
Oh, yeah.
And then we never heard from him again. And then they circled back around and said, "Hey, we feel bad. Like Dom got gypped on his Make-A-Wish."
Right.
And the whole time we're saying like, "Hey man, give the Make-A-Wish to someone else," right? And that kind of hit home for us. Is they were like, "No, Make-A-Wish are designed for kids that have gone through what he has," you know. And so I didn't want to take it away from him, and but it ended up cool. And he saw David Ortiz years before at an autograph signing, and they hit it off. We were in a ridiculous long line. He finally gets up there, and David Ortiz like grabs him from on the other side of the table, pulls him over, hugs him. They're kind of talking for a few seconds, and then he had to get kind of pushed along. So, you know, signs whatever we had, and then I think he had to go to the bathroom or something. So at the end of the show, we're going back through the store, and David Ortiz is just coming out because he's done signing.
Yeah.
And they just like embrace, they're just talking, right?
Yeah.
And then fast forward, 7 or 8 years, they're doing a Make-A-Wish together.
That's
and
great.
David remembered that, when we were chatting with him at Fenway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which was crazy because he's probably does that all the
A
time.
million of those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. So when did you connect with NEB? When did you get started with them?
I did NEB. I went into my 14th year with them. I would always hit with this like hitting coach, Coach Adam, and he would coach their 14U team, but I wasn't playing for them at the time. But I would go to they had a facility in Hudson, and I would hit there like once or twice a week.
Yeah, you were like 12.
Yeah, I was 12 when this started. So I hit with them for like 2 years, 1.5 years, and then it was like, hey, come to NEB, like give it a shot. We're like a pretty good team. I was like, all right. I didn't really know what to expect, and then their facilities in Harvard, Mass. So we drive all the way up there for a tryout, and like right away, just pulling up there, I was like, whoa, like this is sick. Like it's called the Barn.
Right. Yeah.
There's a weight room in it. Like
Yeah.
this is cool. And so they give us like a little tour first, and I was like, this is awesome. Meet some of the coaches, and then like tried out, made the team, and I was like, this is gonna be awesome. And then that's kind of how it's been for the last 3 years.
Yeah, that is cool. So what does the fall look like for you? Are you going down to Fort Myers or Jupiter or any of those tournaments for Perfect Game?
Currently, no. I got like asked to, but I was kind of locked in more on the weights and getting bigger, stronger, faster. You can play all the time. Like you can play so many games, but sometimes there needs to be like an off season where you kind of lock in on just, get bigger for that amount of time, and it's working so far. So my fall is kind of just grinding weights and eating.
Yeah. I agree with you. I did a story a few years ago at NEB. I was up at the barn, and I think Ian Seymour, he just broke into the big leagues, but he was saying the same thing. Like he didn't play baseball in the fall. He was like, all I would do is just concentrate on nutrition and getting bigger and stronger, and you got to give your body some time for that too.
Yeah.
Outside of the baseball season.
There's so many kids that they just throw too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just too much of baseball.
Right.
And there's not. You gotta shut it down at some point. Kids still have to be kids.
Yeah.
And parents get all like caught up in that like FOMO. If my kid's not doing this, he's gonna get left behind.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about NEB. When we linked up there, all the guys are just they're real, right? Like Scott Patterson's just a real guy. So if you're gonna ask him a question, he's gonna give you the real answer. He's not gonna sugarcoat it.
Right.
And he's been so helpful. All the coaches have, Will Z and Matt and those guys, but they direct you where you're really supposed to go, not where people think you should spend money to go.
Right.
What I mean? Yeah.
So what's the, like, do you have colleges that you're kind of targeting, or you haven't even gotten that far yet? Or like you would be the first person with this diagnosis to play college baseball or play professional baseball, or what's kind of the future for you?
I would say my goal is to be the first person to play college baseball.
Yeah.
With this, but my real goal is play professional baseball.
Yeah.
With this, and that would be like the goal, and I think that's pretty attainable. Because I don't think I'll let that stop me. Like, I feel like I have such a golden opportunity to do this that I don't think I'll let anything like push me away from that goal or that idea.
Yeah. Well, you got the right attitude, that's for sure,
Yeah.
and the work ethic too. So, do you have time to hang in for our 3 Up, 3 Down segment?
Of course I do.
All right, nice. Let me kick it to our producer, David Yaz.
3 up, 3 down.
Yes, welcome back to 3 Up, 3 Down, where I have 3 questions for all of our panelists here. First question, inspired by Dom's pastime of imitating batting stances. I want each one of you to give me what your favorite, or you can mention more than one if you want, but favorite batting stances to imitate. Bill, you want to start first?
Hands down the easiest one, Phil Plantier.
He looked like he was sitting on the toilet or something, right?
It was the most unbelievable, which, by the way, my dad and I went all in on that
If you
one.
would bring the mic a little closer to you.
Sorry.
Cool, you're good.
My dad and I went all in on Phil Plantier. And we bought every single card. We had everything autographed, and then
Yeah, well,
nothing.
they shipped him off to
Shipped
San
him,
Diego.
and that was it.
Yeah, I had him on my fantasy team one year, and he would hit like 230. But one year he had like almost 40 home runs, I think.
Yeah.
He had 20 RBI in 1 week. Phil Plantier once had 20 RBI in 1 week.
Wow.
All right. Well, and distinctive stance, to say the least. Dom, how about you? Who's your favorite guy to imitate?
This is tough. I might have to go 2 here because
Yeah, dude, give us 2.
I've always liked the Mike Trout, like the Mike Trout stance, high hands, big leg kick. So I've kind of imitated that more in game than in the cage, I feel like.
That's true.
But second, kind of feeling Ronald Acuna Jr.
Oh, yeah?
Because it's a very like unique stance, and
What does
awesome.
he do? To kind of whip the bat around?
I
or
mean,
is
no,
it-
he's a very like low hands, like right here,
Okay.
feet together.
Yep.
And I mean, no one really does that, so it's kind of cool.
I remember going to the Doyle Brothers baseball camp when I was in high school for the spring or whatever, and everyone would imitate batting stances, and the Doyle Brothers would say, okay, now don't anyone do any of those in the game other than Tony Gwynn was the only one they said that got it right. Because everybody else has these weird stances, but then they'll get to the same place eventually. Yeah. Dan, how about you?
I'm going to go either Ruben Sierra or Gary Sheffield.
Oh, yeah.
They're both kind of like way over the head. Sheffield would be like, trying to time it. But yeah, those are both nice.
His son does it now too.
Yeah, he does.
Like almost,
Is that right?
almost. If you watch them, it's very similar.
Oh, nice. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sheffield was like convulsing, sort of like, that thing.
It looked like he was going to crush it at all times.
Yeah.
That's my favorite righty swings, though. I learned
Give us some
how to
lefties.
hit lefty from just imitating them all the time.
It's better lefty than right.
Yeah, like I hit better at lefty righty.
Yeah.
Are you a switch hitter?
I am.
Oh, you are.
That's
okay.
why I'm going to try to get that more in game this year. It was kind of just been a cage idea, doing it for hand-eye coordination.
Yeah. Hey, it'll add value, right?
So, who do you like doing lefty?
I can tell you right now.
Who?
Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
Sweet swing.
Bryce Harper's up there.
That is true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bryce Harper's got a nice swing.
Ken Griffey Jr. was sort of shades of Fred Lynn. I don't know if anybody remembers Fred Lynn, but just so smooth.
Yeah.
Just like
Effortless.
It was, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, question number 2. We'll stick with the fun questions. Favorite baseball card you've ever had? And Dan, we'll start with you, and then we'll make our way back around the bend. Or still have. Maybe you still.
I had
Dan, you go home every day and look at your baseball card.
I had a Manny Ramirez rookie card. It was like this new, it was called Flair, Wave of the Future. And it was kind of like, I just really liked the design on the card. And it was like really colorful. So that was probably one of my favorites.
Okay, good one.
Yep.
Tom?
My dad always collected cards, so my cards would be whatever he had. So I kind of like
That's how it goes.
I
Right?
kind of like the big guys, like having like a Jose Canseco or like a Mark McGuire was always cool to me. Like finding that.
They must have put them both on the same card at some point with like Bash Brothers.
Oh,
I
yeah,
imagine.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely one of those cards. It might not be like the most rare, but I don't know. I always kind of like the Oakland
I like it.
big guys.
Yeah. I met Jason Giambi at a conference like 3 or 4 years ago. Doesn't look anything like he used to look like in those days.
Right.
And so, because he's off the vitamins, so to speak. But and I said to him, he was super nice. And I said, well, I hate you because you hit 2 home runs against us in 2003 and beat the Sox in the playoffs. He said, but if you don't mind me asking, you had that press conference where you came back and you had lost a lot of weight, like you got off the steroids, basically. Yeah. And they asked him why, and he said, oh, I just stopped eating cheeseburgers. And so I asked him in person about it, and he goes, yeah, what was I supposed to say?
Right.
So he was honest, right?
Right.
Anyway, I think we're up to you, Dom.
No, Bill's got the baseball
Bill.
card one. Yeah.
Bill, sorry, Bill. Go ahead.
Yep. So I would go. I had a ton of baseball cards growing up. That was like the thing.
Yeah.
Growing up. Probably my Ken Griffey Jr. Upper Deck rookie.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
The Ken Griffey Jr. Topps rookie card became like a controversial card, I want to say, right? Because they actually they kept printing them or something.
Yeah, there was a misprint.
Yeah.
And
that's right. Yeah.
And I had the misprint one, which now is a ridiculous amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
But at the time, I think I sold it for an extra $5 over what I bought it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so there's that.
Yeah, and then every
Upper Deck, I think that was one of their first years,
It was,
too. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Excellent answers all around. Final question for 3 Up, 3 Down. We'll start with you, Bill. What most memorable or favorite, if you will, baseball stat? Like what record sort of sticks out the most to you? You know, and when I was growing up, it was always Hank Aaron's 755 home runs. But things have changed. So this is me stalling to give you time to think, Bill. So
I'd have to still go with Ted Williams' batting average.
407?
407, 406.
I think 406.
406.
Yeah.
Because my father was just so enamored by that number. Like at any point in time, even like raking leaves, you know, he'd be like, "Do you know how hard it is to hit 406?"
Yeah.
You know, is it 406?
Yes,
Yeah,
406,
yeah. So like ever since I was a little kid, that's what you heard, and you know, and now watching baseball every day. I mean, I played baseball up through high school, but watching it every day, at a high level, that's impossible.
Yeah. I remember when in 1980 George Brett threatened hitting 400 anyway. And for a while, into the last couple months of the season, he was right around 400. It ended up at 390. It's just so hard. It's so hard. Apparently, Wade Boggs hit 400 over 162 games. If you took like the last half of one season and the first half of the next season, but the pressure is so great and everything. But now I'm not old enough to have ever seen Ted Williams play. I hope no one thought I was. But you've heard the story of what happened to Williams on the final day of the season, right? Because it was a doubleheader. He was hitting 396.6 or something. No, 399.6. Is that what I said? Whatever. The point is, if he had rested the final day of the season, it would have been rounded up to 400, and he would have been a 400 hitter. Sorry, I'm getting real emotional thinking about Ted Williams, I guess, or I have a cough. And so he said, "Screw it, I'm going to play." He played in the doubleheader. He got like 4 or 5 hits in the doubleheader and ends up at 406. So,
wow, see that?
Legend. Yeah. All right, Dom, you've had plenty of time to think of yours.
So I would either say Barry Bonds home runs or Cal Ripken.
Nice.
Because, you know, that...
Consecutive games played.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's very impressive because everyone knows what it's like to be sore, but, like, doing that every day, that's impressive.
Yeah. And that's, I think you could file that among records that will never be broken. I don't think that'll ever be broken.
No chance.
So what is it, more than 2,500 games?
Now, definitely not.
26. Yeah, it's like 2630 or something.
2632, pretty close, Dan.
Yeah.
And I wonder, I'm going to look up who the active leader is because I have a feeling no one's at 1,000, but we'll have to do a little research here. All right, Dan, your favorite figure, stat, record, whatever.
Yeah, so I grew up in the Philadelphia area right when Mike Schmidt was closing in on 500 home runs. He ended up getting to it when I was 9, so that was like my peak of my baseball fanhood. So 500 home runs. I used to have posters with like all the 500, and now there's like 10 new guys who have 500 home runs. But back then, I think there was like 15 guys who
Did
had
you
hit.
save those posters though?
No, did not save them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I used to like list all the guys who hit 500 all
Yeah.
the time. But yeah, it was so 500 home runs is definitely my milestone that I hold dear.
Yeah, 500 used to be, needless to say, a much bigger deal. There are a lot of guys I think there are a few active guys that might make it, but
I think Pujols was way over.
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
made. And actually, I remember I was going to ask, are they all in the Hall of Fame? I wonder.
I
don't know if Dave Kingman made it. I don't think he made it.
No, he didn't make it.
I think they're all in the Hall of Fame. I think Eddie Murray was probably the last one in. Or
Yeah.
anyway, the active leader in consecutive games played is Matt Olsen at 782.
Yeah.
So he'd have to almost do 4 times what he's at right now, and
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Probably not.
Anyway, you guys have all done amazing in 3 Up, 3 Down. Thank you for being good sports. Back to you, Dan, to wrap things up.
Okay. Thanks to Dom and Bill Driscoll for joining us in studio. Subscribe to the Base Path Podcast on your preferred platform. You can watch all of our podcasts on YouTube. Thanks to our producer, David Yaz. The Base Path Podcast is a Siemens Media production.